As an exuberant person myself, generally, at least when it comes to talking about books, even to me, I was like, girl, settle down. Hello, welcome to Sound and Fairy Book Reviews. As usual, I'm Tina. Today I'm doing a book review of The Dragon Has Some Complaints by John Wiswell. This is a book coming out July 14th, 2026 from Daw. It's a fantasy novel. I received this book from NetGalley in exchange for a fair review. Sweet and funny, The Dragon Has Some Complaints is a cozy adjacent fantasy with a main character who is one head of a multi-headed dragon. What's it about? I'm never going to pronounce this properly. Garoda was once a four-headed dragon among the most powerful in Cardoza. After an unfortunate incident, he now has three heads, one stump, and a daily whirlwind of internal bickering. Centerhead wants to rain death upon all humanity, bottom head is like a feral cat, and upper head is under the delicate delusion that he is in fact human. When a nearby battle goes awry, Garrity, or whatever, sneaks into an elite Dragon Rider academy pretending to be tame to get free food and a warm bed. Luckily for him, Rider Raina Albright is desperate enough for a dragon of her own that she overlooks his eccentricities. As Garrity recovers under Rainey's care, all three heads start to turn for the first time in the same direction. Each wants to protect her from the invaders who killed their fourth head, the same invaders who seek to conquer Cardoza. When the academy comes under attack, can this wild dragon and his wilder rider save their homeland together? This cozy fantasy intertwines epic battles with loving friendships, sharing an utterly unique perspective on what it means to be a monster. The first thing I thought of when I read the jacket cover of this book was this meme that you've probably all seen, and it does definitely fit this. What's interesting about this book is that while the book is in third person, thankfully, it's third person limited to Centerhead. While he's part of the full dragon, in that all three heads sort of control the body without much issue, all three minds function separately. There was a fourth lefty, but he is gone. So the main character is Centerhead, and he's grouchy, distrustful, and the clear leader of the group, though as the story goes, you see how the others do influence his decisions. There is some fantasy action in this book, but there's no gory Joe Abercrombie kind of scenes. It's more dragon flight and dodging and burning stuff from above. There's a lot of queer rep, which I really enjoyed. The dragon has no romance plot himself, but his human, Rainia, is bi or pan, with her love interest being a trans man. The normalization of all this was great. It was excellent, actually. But the latter, the latter person, trans man, is described by Centerhead as a trans man, and that seemed a bit odd to me to state outright. It was clearly meant to be inclusive, and I loved that inclusivity, but it could have been shown, not told, like Raina's sexuality was. But I'm not trans, so I could be totally wrong on this. It just stood out to me in a way that I thought was curious. I was like, does this work? I'm not sure. The world building was cozy level acceptable. We get a bit of politics in that one country is attacking another and a third is trying to cut a deal while this is going on. But there's nothing like layered. It's very much these are the bad guys and they wear a somewhat fascist uniform just so you know that they are fascist. And we have to defend our utopia from them. All that is sort of par for the course with the book until the last 10%, which went in a totally different direction. That was very fun. I really enjoyed that. For being a cozy book, the main story isn't really about the attacking force, but more so the friends we made along the way. It had good world building, but is quite surface level. Cozy world building is a hard balance to strike. Too little feels flat, and too much and you inevitably lose the cozy. I liked how the explanation as to how the dragons fly is linked to the plot, and the combo of Gaslamp and dragons was fun. So I'd say if you're expecting cozy adjacent, the world building is decent. If you're not, you might find it lacks a bit of depth. So go into it not expecting this to be a complex political fantasy, of course. Centerhead. Well, all the dragons are so cute, though. I love them. And Centerhead's story arc is predictable yet enjoyable. It's clear he just needs to be shown love to feel it again. He's tough on the outside, but he's jelly in the middle. His recovery from injury and rehabilitation was the strongest part of the story. That part was really, really well done. Rainia irked me a little bit, though. I'm not sure why. I didn't dislike her, but she was a bit much at times, I think. As an exuberant person myself, generally, at least when it comes to talking about books, even to me, I was like, girl, settle down. It's possible it's because all the human characters act a bit too young at times. I initially attributed this to the coziness of the book, as sometimes with cozy books you get characters that are kind of more like cutesy and fun than like serious, which makes sense. But as the story progresses, the cozy factor sort of drops off and the seriousness ramps up. So the characters' interpersonal conflicts seem to just take up space rather than attributed to much of the story. It would have been almost better if all of that had happened off the page, with Gerda only being aware of it in the peripheral, like we kind of could ship them from a distance, that sort of thing. Tied to this, or perhaps because of it, some things that could have stayed implied were implicitly stated, which slowed down the pacing considerably, at least in the kind of like middle section of the book. Yet overall, the book is very, very fun. I'm giving it a solid 4 stars. The dragon had some really funny parts, and the found family aspect was sweet. It's highly enjoyable. If you go into it looking for something a little bit more fantasy action than cozy, like as I said, cozy adjacent, I think it works better than just full on cozy. I think you would enjoy it. It's good. And if you read the Someone to Build a Nest In, which I did, but I actually didn't like as much as this one at all, I think you'll enjoy this. I think it's good. I'm really curious to see what this author comes out with next, because the concepts that he has are really fun, like the talking dragon and the fact that the heads all, talk to one another. The whole plot of Someone to Build a Nest In was wild. So yeah, write another one. I definitely want to read it. Thanks again to NetGalley and to Daw, yes, for the e-arc. I really appreciate it.